Imagine waking up to find your entire country frozen. Banks offline, news channels dead, emergency lines failing, and no one knows why. But the terrifying truth? It was all triggered by one man, sitting alone in a dark room, pressing a single key. If you want more gripping true digital thrillers like this, make sure you're subscribed, because this story will change how you see the modern world forever. Rain tapped steadily against a narrow window as a single red light pulsed in the darkness like a mechanical heartbeat. Inside a cramped apartment on the outskirts of Tallinn, Estonia, a man known only as Spectre leaned forward, illuminated by the faint glow of mismatched monitors. Outside, the city moved through another cold spring evening, unaware that its digital lifeline, the invisible infrastructure connecting its banks, government, hospitals, and people, was minutes away from collapsing. It was April 2007. Estonia was quiet, calm, and preparing for another ordinary day. But Spectre was not. His fingers hovered above his keyboard with a tension that felt like the moment before a trigger pull. He wasn't a mastermind funded by a government. He wasn't a legendary hacker etched into underground mythology. He was, in many ways, painfully ordinary, except for the anger burning in his chest. The spark had been political, a government decision to relocate a Soviet-era bronze statue from a central square. Protests erupted, emotions flared. But for most, it was an argument about history. For Spectre, it was an insult carved into metal. Something inside him snapped, and in the glow of his monitors, he believed he could make the entire country feel what he felt. He typed the first command. A government website flickered. No alarms yet, just turbulence. A ripple. A warning sign ignored. Spectre smirked. This wasn't the attack. This was only the whisper before the scream. Thousands of infected computers across Europe and Asia, machines he'd quietly compromised over months, now waited for his signal, dormant soldiers awaiting a command that would change history. Spectre cracked his knuckles, leaned in, and unleashed the first wave. At 1:27 a.m., alarms erupted inside a government data center beneath Tallinn's Ministry of Justice. A night shift technician jolted upright as a flood of requests overwhelmed the server in a blinding surge. He checked logs, refreshed screens, and then stared, frozen. This wasn't a glitch. This was an attack. He grabbed the phone. Spectre watched the chaos from miles away as a stream of numbers poured down his monitors. Error codes, server responses failing one after another. He felt an electric thrill shoot through him. The wave was growing, and this was only the beginning. By dawn, Estonia's digital heartbeat stuttered. Government sites slowed. Online payments failed. Citizens found themselves locked out of essential services. Banks reported outages. A modern nation built on digital innovation suddenly felt the fragility of invisible systems it took for granted. In cafes across Tallinn, people speculated. Must be technical issues. Probably temporary. It'll pass. They had no idea the attack had already spread like wildfire, cutting through firewalls, overwhelming systems, and spiraling beyond anything the country had ever prepared for. Inside a secure office near Toompea Hill, emergency cybersecurity teams gathered, exhausted and tense. They mapped traffic spikes so violent they crashed monitoring tools. Someone mentioned shutting down essential services. A desperate move. No one wanted to suggest it, but everyone felt the same tightening dread. Meanwhile, in his dim apartment, Spectre inhaled a bowl of instant noodles, barely aware of the cold noodles or the steam fogging his glasses. His focus sharpened. He launched the second wave. Chat rooms across the internet exploded. A country was under attack. Not a company, not a private network. Country. Some online observers cheered. Others feared. But many wanted to join. Anonymous users from around the world began messaging Spectre, offering their systems, their skills, their chaos. He accepted them. By evening, the digital assault grew monstrous. Estonia's government portals fell. Banks flickered. News sites crashed repeatedly. Panic began entering conversations. Digital borders were slamming shut. Estonia had to isolate itself from parts of the global internet simply to survive. Spectre watched footage on television, newscasters struggling to explain what was happening. thrilled him, but beneath that thrill, something else stirred. Unease. He hadn't meant for it to escalate like this. Had he? Lina, a cybersecurity analyst, leaned over her workstation as patterns emerged from the digital fog. She detected signatures, tiny inconsistencies in the attack traffic that suggested something orchestral rather than random. Someone was manually guiding this storm. By the second night, exhaustion and fear coiled through government halls. Systems were buckling. Banks were calling hourly. People couldn't reach emergency lines. The military was on high alert. A digital blackout loomed. Spectre prepared his largest strike yet. A coordinated multi-vector flood aimed at crippling state-level communication channels and financial networks simultaneously. He hesitated before pressing enter. Across Tallinn, Lina found it. A tiny misconfigured relay Spectre had forgotten to secure. She followed it, thread by digital thread, back to a faint geographic imprint. Her voice trembled. "He's not abroad. He's here." Law enforcement mobilized instantly. They cross-referenced unusual network patterns with apartment complexes, neighborhood traffic loads, and ISP-level anomalies. A list of possible locations formed. Spectre executed the attack. The largest wave yet surged like a digital tsunami. Government servers crashed. Banks halted. Emergency communication lines sputtered. It was the closest Estonia had ever come to digital paralysis. And then, a knock at the door. A sharp, deliberate knock. Spectre froze. His heart hammered. A second knock followed. Then came the words that ended everything. "Police, open the door." He ripped the power cable from his server, killing the assault instantly. His monitors went black. For a moment, he stood in absolute silence before the officers broke through and arrested him. Across the city, Lina watched as the attack suddenly dissolved. Systems gasped back online. Banks reconnected. Government portals flickered awake. Estonia had survived barely. Spectre, whose real identity never became widely known, was interrogated. His motives were fragments: anger, pride, ideology, loneliness. Even he could barely articulate why he'd pushed so far. Estonia spent weeks repairing the damage. The attack became a case study. Governments worldwide reevaluated cyber defenses. A single hacker had exposed vulnerabilities that no nation wanted to admit existed. Years later, when asked what he felt in the moment he realized he had nearly shut down an entire country, Spectre answered quietly, "I thought I was in control, but once it started, no one was." The world remembered the attack not as a story about code or politics, but as a chilling reminder of how fragile a digital nation can be when a single person, driven by emotion, discovers the power to break it with keystrokes. One spark, one man, one night that nearly rewrote history.